back with you. We will bring back with you.
Hey, this is B-Movie Mike, and welcome back to my channel. What I have for you today is a movie review, and that movie is Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides. The movie gets its story and secondary title from the 1987 novel On Stranger Tides by award-winning author Tim Powers. Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides is a continuation of the Pirates of the Caribbean storyline. It has references to the original trilogy, but it's also its own standalone film and is actually good enough to launch another trilogy. Some people on the internet were complaining that the characters of Elizabeth Swann and William Turner were not in this film, but I thought that their story was effectively concluded at the end of part 3, with Will Turner taking over as the captain of the Flying Dutchman, cursed to only be able to step foot on land every 10 years, and Elizabeth Swann becoming the mother of his child and waiting for his return every 10 years. I thought that was effectively communicated at the end of the third film, that was pretty much the end of their storyline. So when I heard that they were not going to be in this movie, I was not really surprised, nor did I think it was necessary for them to be in this film. That being said, we do have several characters returning for this fourth installment. First up is Johnny Depp returning as Captain Jack Sparrow. Kevin McNally returns as Mr. Gibbs. Jeffrey Rush is back chewing up the scenery as Captain Barbossa. And Keith Richards returns to make a brief cameo as Captain Jack Sparrow's father. This movie introduces some new characters into the Pirates universe. First up is the character of Angelica, as played by Penelope Cruz, who also just happens to be the daughter of our main villain, Blackbeard, as played by Ian McShane. And Derek Mears, who played Jason Voorhees in the Friday the 13th remake, makes a brief appearance as one of Blackbeard's zombie pirates. If you have not seen Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides, you might want to stop this review and go see the movie. This is your final warning. Arr, mateys, there be spoilers ahead. The film begins in London town, with Jack Sparrow being captured by the British troops and brought before the king, who wants him to join forces with his former first mate, the treacherous Captain Barbossa, who has renounced his pirating lifestyle and joined the British fleet, on a mission to beat the Spaniards to the discovery of the Fountain of Youth. Captain Jack, of course, wants nothing to do with the king or his mission. What follows is a great action sequence where Captain Jack Sparrow does what he does best, and he's eventually aided in his escape by a surprise reappearance of his father. After a brief conversation with his father, he runs into a former flame, played by Penelope Cruz. Apparently she was the first in a long line of romantic missteps, but apparently the only woman that Captain Jack has ever felt stirrings for. He won't admit to ever having feelings for this woman, he will only admit to having mild stirrings for her. But once again, our captain is duped and he ends up a prisoner on the infamous pirate ship known as the Queen Anne's Revenge, whose captain is the infamous pirate that all other pirates fear, Blackbeard. Being a prisoner on Blackbeard's ship does not set well with Captain Jack Sparrow, so he decides to stage a mutiny and try to gain his freedom from the ship so he can go on about his day. Of course, this attempt at mutiny fails miserably, and in the process he learns that his ex-girlfriend or former love is actually the long-lost daughter of Blackbeard himself. Instead of killing Captain Jack for his mutinous behavior, he forces him to join the crew in their expedition to find, you guessed it, the Fountain of Youth. So he sets off with Angelica on the search for the Fountain of Youth. And of course, in these sequences, the usual Captain Jack stuff goes on, where he gets captured and escapes and runs around through the jungle and does all of his usual antics. And of course, he runs into Barbossa again, and the usual the enemy of my enemy is my friend routine kicks in, where he and Barbossa team up against Blackbeard in an attempt to bring the pirate down. According to the legend, they have to find 2 specific silver chalices in which to drink the water of the fountain out of. And not only that, but one of those chalices has to contain the tear of a mermaid. After they acquire the silver chalices, they go off on a mermaid hunt. And here we get to see a whole bunch of different mermaids. And at first they're really peaceful and serene and quite beautiful. But then they show their true form and they start plucking the sailors out of the boats one by one, picking them off, taking them down, tearing them up. It's kind of violent for a Disney film, but compared to other films, it's really mild. And there's just some implied nudity, no direct nudity. The women are topless, but they're CGI and hair that strategically block out any naughty bits that might otherwise be exposed. After several incredible action sequences and a couple of explosions, the usual Jerry Bruckheimer type stuff, they capture a mermaid and continue their quest to find the Fountain of Youth. They arrive at the location of the Fountain of Youth, have a final showdown with Blackbeard where Barbossa finally gets his revenge, and the movie comes to a satisfying conclusion with the hint of another sequel to come. And I say, bring it on! I really like this whole entire series, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I've heard some people say that this is actually their favorite Pirates film. I wouldn't go that far. It's the beginning of a new storyline, and that's something I would definitely like to see more of. If you're wondering if the change of directors has ruined the films, actually I think it's breathed new life into the franchise of the Pirates films. The acting in this film is top-notch, everybody turns in a great performance, and the special effects are just enough to add to the story without overwhelming it. Well, that brings my review of Pirates of the Caribbean on Stranger Tides to a conclusion. I definitely recommend you check this flick out, and I will be back with another movie review later.